When you look at old movies and it's like people in a car and the background is clearly a rear projection and they're not really sitting in a car. And modern viewers will sneer at that and go, did people really think? No. People didn't think they were really in a car. They could tell that as easily as we could tell that isn't the outside
but
world.
They went with the story. They
but
went
they
with the world.
accepted the artificiality of motion pictures. So Wes Anderson's films are awash in that sense of artificiality. We are big fans of Wes Anderson. He is part of the oldest tradition in cinema, which is open artifice, which is this understanding that cinema is artificial and you should lean into the artificiality of cinema.
What makes something characteristically Wes Anderson?
Let me tell you about my boat.
What is that Wes Anderson style? It's symmetry. It's long, lateral tracking shots. It's immaculately arranged flat lays, slow motion, whip pans, or countless other visual quirks. And why do all those things seem to form a very specific unified whole? Let's focus on one aspect of Wes's visual style, planimetric composition. Planimetric composition is the orientation of elements of a scene, especially the background, as flat planes relative to the camera. Planimetric composition wasn't invented by Wes Anderson, it's used by a lot of other filmmakers, but Wes adheres to it and uses it probably more than anyone else in film. In addition to the background being a flat plane, characters usually occupy and move through flat planes within the scene that run parallel to the background. We can see Wes usually orients his characters along these planes, either facing directly towards or away from the camera, or perpendicular to the camera in the profile view. To maintain this planimetric composition as he moves the camera around and through scenes, Wes employs compass point editing. In compass point editing and camera work, the camera only really faces in 4 directions. Whenever the camera pans, it pans in 90-degree increments in order to keep the walls of the environment flat. When he cuts, he usually cuts in 90 or 180 degrees. If you think about it, this isn't really a technique so much as a necessity to maintain planimetric composition in a standard environment with 4 walls. Wes maintains this rule when he moves the camera on a dolly. The camera moves directly forward, backward, or sideways along these specific axes. Most filmmakers avoid this type of composition because flat compositions usually look and feel constructed. A flat composition feels self-conscious. It draws attention to itself. Wes recounts a story about an argument he had with his agent over the curtains in Rushmore. In Rushmore, we had these curtains with the months projected on them, and my agent, who I love, was like, yeah, you don't need that. That's just a show-off thing. It doesn't help. It takes you out of the story and the reality of the movie. And I can tell there's a curtain on a movie set there because it looks like a real thing. It's supposed to look like a real thing. I know, but I can tell there's a curtain where you're shooting it. I know. Yeah, but there's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be people. Real people. Well, I know that, yes, but I do want the curtain there. For me, often what might take somebody else out of it is what I think is just the most beautiful thing. The curtains in Rushmore, along with planimetric compositions, are examples of the fingerprints of the filmmaker being visible in the work itself. Wes doesn't care if you know there's a director making the movie, that there's somebody pulling back the curtain and telling you a story. In fact, he's happy to highlight that, a device that explicitly draws your attention to the moviness of the movie.
Just a treat for the senses. And so the art direction and the production design and the costume design are all just eye-poppingly beautiful.